Swerdlow.
And Janet Diane Swerdlow.
And this is the Expansions News Podcast for the third week of April 2016. And before I get into my main stories, I have an update for you. You might remember last year the downing of the Malaysian airline flight MH17 from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur that was shot down over Ukraine. And at the time, of course, they blamed the Russians, and it was the Russian rebels that had missiles that shot it down, blah, blah, blah. And then I reported to you on a story of radar evidence that a Ukrainian fighter jet was actually the one that shot down the plane. Well, now there is new evidence that says or suggests that the Malaysian airliner was shot down by a Ukrainian fighter jet rather than a ground-to-air missile. And this is documented by none other than the BBC. So, they're always right?
I guess.
BBC, what does BBC stand for?
That's just what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Big bad corporation.
No, there's bad words that I could say, but I won't. Oh, should I?
No,
I better not.
We're family friendly.
That's true, but my listeners know what it really stands for. Good, well, it's a serious story, so come on. So anyway, there's even another theory that the plane was blown up by the CIA to have a fake terrorist operation. But here's what the BBC documentary said. The program notes that people saw the aircraft being shot down by the fighter jet. And they interviewed a woman who was on the ground. Her name was Natasha Beronina. And she said that it was a summer, harvest time, and we heard a bang. At first, we thought we saw black smoke in two planes, little ones like silver toys. One flew straight on, and the other one turned around when the bang happened and flew back from where it had come. So that's what the original story had said, the shot and went around. And another witness even said they saw the jet launch a missile before hearing the big boom, the fighter jet. Now, on the Sunday Express, a German investigative journalist named Billy Six, that's a...
Odd name.
Maybe I should be Stewart 1, Billy Six.
Maybe odd.
That means there's 5 Billys before him.
You should only be the first because there's only one of you.
Yeah, but he interviewed 100 witnesses for the program, and 7 of them said they saw the fighter jet. Now, this was profusely denied by a fighter jet pilot, Vladislav Voloshin, who was accused of being responsible for that. But the other theory is that the aircraft was detonated in a CIA-backed terrorist operation where 2 bombs were planted on the airliner for several reasons. But it was done by the Ukrainian Secret Service and Dutch Security Service. And they said that it was a terrorist act as a pretext for intensifying sanctions on Russia, number 1. 2, to show the world that Russia is a barbarian country. And 3, to strengthen the presence of NATO in Europe, particularly in Ukraine. Well, it could be all of the above. But I know, and I've heard from very reliable sources, the Ukrainians shot it down with their fighter jets. And as we know, the ones who were in the radar tower in Kiev at the time vanished. Okay, now to other stories, because a lot of people have been talking about all the earthquakes and volcanoes and stuff going on. And according to this story on Volcano Discovery, which I imagine is some kind of organization, they said that the Earth is becoming increasingly unstable. 38 volcanoes around the globe are erupting right now, and 6 of them are not even along the Ring of Fire in the Pacific because they're erupting in Antarctica and Africa. Remember what I always said, that the reason the ice shelves are breaking off in Antarctica is because of the volcanic eruptions, not global warming. And they're kind of confirming this.
But do they talk about all the earthquakes under the sea?
Well, let me get to this, okay? It says on the average, in the last 100 years, there's about 35 volcanic eruptions each year. And now we have over 38 of them. They also said that on an average year, there is 108.5 earthquakes of magnitude 6 or greater, but so far we've been averaging since 2000 161 earthquakes of 6 plus, which is almost a 39% increase. So they said that almost all of the world's active supervolcanic systems are now exhibiting signs of eruption, and that pressure is building in these volcanic systems, and they included among the supervolcanoes Iceland, which they said is where the most dangerous volcanoes are on the planet, Santorini in Greece, which blew up the Minoan civilization, Uturuncu in Bolivia, Yellowstone, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, and the Long Valley calderas in U.S., Laguna del Maule in Chile, and Italy's Campiflegre. So this is 90% of the Earth's earthquakes and 75% of all volcanic eruptions occur in the Pacific Rim, including the western United States. And they also said that our planet and our sun are changing in ways that are unpredictable and that scientists don't understand it. Now, they also talked about the magnetic poles shifting and that it's supposed to shift again in 2,000 years, but they've noticed that, which is like 5% per century, but now they said it's shifting 5% per decade, or 10 times faster than it was originally thought. So they think that it could shift like that. But people, remember, I've said this to you before, it's not, because the magnetic poles shift this way, and then they start to go back, it kind of wobbles back and forth like the Earth. And I also mentioned that there are objects under Ellesmere Island in the north of Canada, which are 100 kilometers under the Earth, and very huge cylinder-like objects that no one knows what they are, who put them there. And it is my theory, an opinion, that these are actually stabilizing the wobble, because there are aliens or beings here that do not want the Earth to flip, and they won't let it. Not they're like us, but they need the Earth in a certain way. And you will see on the podcast links, which will be attached to this report, a video of geysers in Yellowstone, which was taken overnight about 10 days ago or 2 weeks ago by the time you see this. And it shows really erratic eruptions of many, many geysers in the Yellowstone Park. And if you watch at the point 4 minutes and 5 seconds to the left of your screen, you will see a huge flash as one of the geysers goes off, which is some kind of an explosion, which means gas is coming out and exploding. Not a good thing. So keep your eyes on Yellowstone. Now, a very, very sad activation that's been going on recently, especially this week. And some of you have read Janet's blog this week, and she talked about 2 of our neighbors being found murdered. Murder-suicide this past week. A very, very sad story. And in the same week, you must also have read or heard about the 8 family members in Ohio who were found dead, who many of them were just shot in their sleep, and nobody knows who did it. They might still be at large, and they may be more than one person. They're all members of the same family.
And the same day that happened on our block, there was a family in Texas, murder-suicide.
Right.
If you have that in your notes.
I didn't have that because I'm just giving you a sample, because at the same time a 50-year-old man gunned down 5 people in Georgia and then killed himself. So these murder-suicides, and then these other things that are happening, especially in schools, is these people being beaten to death. And this school in Delaware, a 16-year-old girl died after she went to the ladies' room, and she was beaten by other students who slammed her head against the bathroom sink and killed her. And nobody knows why this happened. They said it was originally over a boyfriend, but that's not true. So this is a sample of an average week in the United States. This all happened in the United States. Now, is this happening elsewhere? If you know, in your country, wherever you live, if such things are also happening, let us know. Let us find out. Is this an American activation, or is this something that's global? Because my assessment of the whole thing is there's a huge activation of assassin programming, suicide programming, vigilante programming, and ritual sacrifice programming. And also, those who were among these deaths this week was Prince, which may have been related to the Queen's birthday.
Well, he died on her birthday, so someone had actually posted that the prince died on the Queen's birthday.
So we had Prince die and Patty Duke, a Prince, see? And then we had this female wrestler named China.
Yeah.
So there's something going on.
Well, there's always something.
I mean,
and
but seriously going on.
Well, we talked about that 2016. They were going to ramp it up, and then of course,
And here it is.
toward the end of April, we expect it to be ramped up as well. We had Hitler's birthday and a lot of other things. We had that Temple of Baal being reenacted.
Right, and then this also happened a lot during the week of Earth Day, the Jewish Passover holiday, and there was some other things going on.
Ending May Day, May 1st. So I would say between now and May 1st.
And this week is supposed to be a pink moon. Did you know that?
I never heard of that one.
A pink moon, which they said happens every April. I never heard of that before.
They call them all kinds of things all the time now that we've never heard of.
And they make it sound like, oh yeah, it happens every year. Well, it's the first time I ever heard of it.
Right, and we watch these things. So, now between now and the May 1st, I think things are really going to get ramped up.
And May 1st is May Day.
Right, which is, as I've talked about before, the maypole, which is a phallic symbol. So that's where it all culminates.
Right.
And I think
Well.
you have to be especially vigilant. Remember, it's your mind pattern that attracts these things, so you don't want to live in fear. You want to recognize what's going on within yourself and correct it. And this has been my theme on my blog this last month. For those of you who are participating in the month of April, it's called Inner Revolution. Because if you take care of your own inner revolution, we don't have to participate in an outer revolution, which is what I believe that we are being set up for.
Well, absolutely. Before you go on, just before we started filming, I got information that said the Russian military bought 5 bottlenose dolphins, and nobody knows why.
Well, I have a dolphin story in here too,
Wow.
and a Russian story. So actually, it's a good segue.
I did it on purpose.
You did, but I'm going to start with a couple other things. Well, actually, a couple things, and then I go into my Russian story, just in case you want to know that.
Okay, I'll hold my breath till you do it.
Okay, my first story is actually a Pope Francis story because I want to keep you up to date on that. And apparently, there was a Christian brother and sister from Syria who were told that they were among a dozen refugees that were going to start a new life in Italy, blessed by Pope Francis. And all of a sudden, it got refused by the Vatican because they said their papers weren't in order. But guess what? They took 3 Muslim families instead.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Isn't that interesting? So,
Way to go, Pope.
now what's interesting too is the perception of the immigrants as well, because you and I have talked about this. We don't just move from country to country, place to place. All our paperwork is checked and rechecked. They know who we are. You know, they know the
You mean
size
us
of
personally, or
everybody here. They know the size of everybody's underwear. So this
I hope they don't
refugee,
know my underwear.
this refugee says if they can do this for 12 people, they can do it for more.
They could do it for 12,000 people.
If you have promised to take people back to Italy, will something like registration papers stand in your way?
Especially if you're the Pope.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was extremely interesting, especially because he has talked all this time about bringing Muslim families to the Vatican, and we still haven't seen it. Now they're talking about it. Now let's see if we see it and who these people actually are.
I think the Pope's showing his true colors.
Well, he's always shown his true colors if
And
you
it's
look.
not white.
Yeah. Now here comes my next story, which is actually a Russian story mixed in
Yay!
with Obama.
I love Russian stories.
It has to do about the Tsar.
The Tsar?
Now this story
The
you are
Tsar
going
that my family killed?
Yes, you're going to like this story a lot because this is actually was written by a commentator. You can read the link if you or look at the link if you want to know more details. But listen to this. This commentator writes that in the West, Vladimir Putin, Tsar of all the Russians, now we've not heard him referred to as the Tsar before, is a boorish clown destined for ultimate failure.
What? I'm so insulted.
The last time a minor power, I don't consider Russia a minor power,
No.
the last time a minor power played its hand as well as Putin has played Russia's was in 1203. Venice hijacked the Fourth Crusade to sack Christian Constantinople, leaving Venice wealthy and empowered. It also wrecked Europe's bulwark against Islam, leading to 7 centuries of jihad, resuming now after a brief time out. Now, isn't that interesting? The same thing that we've been talking about, how everything is being set up for new crusades. Now it's being brought up the Tsar, the Fourth Crusade, the Jihad. We've had a brief timeout. A few hundred years is more than a brief timeout. Putin's power plays won't end well for Europe either, but like medieval Venice, he's good at what he does. He took over Russia when it was flat on its back. He restored Russian pride, recreating the trappings of a great power. Says he lacks credentials. He didn't go to the right schools and does not behave properly.
That's what makes him good.
That's right. And then they said he was a lowly KGB lieutenant colonel.
Not. He was
and
not.
Nobody in the KGB I would consider lowly.
No, he was in charge of Berlin.
Yes, well, they're calling him lowly in this.
Well, who's writing this?
This is a commentary. You read it. He's crude and says prissy elite spent the last decade and a half mocking Putin. However, he spent those years enriching his country, reviving its military, expanding its territory, extending its influence abroad, and humiliating the United States. Putin knows his people unlike our leaders. And then it says he comes
That's
from
true.
the streets, not from Harvard. And Russians have for centuries, now this one I hadn't heard either, cherished the myth of the good Tsar. Have you heard of that? Apparently, in the face of corruption and by the peasant side, if the Tsar only knew. So Putin holds these 4-hour audiences where he actually takes calls and emails from people, and then he fixes their problems. They say the roads are bad, they have corrupt bosses, they're not getting...
Russia.
But that's what they're saying, and that their wages aren't getting paid, etc.,
But they
etc.
got vodka instead.
So he goes in there and he helps it. Now, of course, they all love him for that. And this also is interesting. It says, when will we stop underestimating Putin? Western leaders have come and gone, but Putin's still there. Barring acts of God, he'll remain on his throne after the next 2 or 3 U.S. presidents have left the Oval Office.
I believe it.
And then they say his popularity rating remains higher than Hillary Clinton's and Donald Trump's.
Well, that's not hard to do.
Both combined. So I thought you would like that.
I do.
Okay, and then speaking of U.S. presidents, we're going to move on to London's outgoing mayor, who I've talked to you about before,
I like
Boris
him too.
Johnson.
And his name is Boris.
That's
Russian
right.
name.
Anyway, he talked about Barack Obama calling his intervention in the debate about the European Union referendum incoherent and hypocritical.
Absolutely.
Then he goes on to talk about when the U.S. president moved into the White House, a bust of Winston Churchill disappeared.
Yes, right.
And it had been there for years.
That's right.
Okay, so he says, Boris Johnson says, some people said it was a snub to Britain.
It was.
Some said it was a symbol of the, get this, part Kenyan president's ancestral dislike of the British Empire.
Hello. I like this Boris. He should run for president.
Part Kenyan.
Boris, come over here.
And then in the U.S. Capitol, did you know that we have a display of U.S. flags in a tunnel under Washington's Capitol complex? They're going to now replace that because of the controversial Confederate symbols on some of the flags. And they're going to put something really exciting like the backs of those quarters that they have representing every 50 states. Isn't that so cool?
So stupid.
Isn't that stupid? Anyway.
How many billions are going to spend on that one?
Well, who knows? And then, get this one, there is a black Mississippi attorney who argues that seeing the Confederate Mississippi flag is causing his anxiety, he's losing sleep, and he has an abnormal heart rate. And he's blaming it on seeing the Mississippi flag because it has the Confederate symbols on it. So
I think he needs to have a drink.
So he's trying to fight to get the state flag changed. So
unbelievable.
But what's interesting is, again, this North Carolina, South Carolina, and once in a while Virginia thrown in.
And Mississippi.
Mississippi now, we're getting the southern states riled up about it.
The South will rise again.
Now listen to this. In North Carolina, there is now a high school, the Smithfield-Selma High School, which has now opened a 1,200 square foot, 6-lane indoor shooting area for its junior ROTC students.
Shooting range.
A shooting range.
That's brilliant, because we don't have enough people that have guns that kill others.
Well, the cadets will practice shooting with daisy pump air rifles.
Daisy pump?
And must undergo extensive training before they can participate. They have to take a marksman's test, they have to take psychological training. Of course, they have to take a safety pledge, which of course means everything.
Wait, this is where, North Carolina?
This is North Carolina.
They're all going to fail psychological tests.
And they only have 6 right now who've passed. But
and they probably came from the north.
It has 6 lanes, 1,200 square feet. I'm telling you, they're training people and they're preparing for something more.
Oh my God, we got to leave the country.
So
Let's
I'm just telling you They're preparing for something more. And I threw this one in since we talked about Russia. This was about an Alaska professor who was mauled by a bear during a mountaineering
yes,
class.
I heard about that.
He was a university educator. He was teaching a mountaineering course. And of course in Alaska, and we've been there, there's a lot of wildlife. I would not want to be out in the woods for any reason, honestly. There's too much, there are too many moose.
So you had a guy that was mauled by a bear, that woman that was mauled by a tiger.
Yeah.
Then I read a story today about a 2-month-old baby that was mauled by a dog.
Oh, I remember, and I told about the story, I think when you were gone, about the, I think she was Indonesian, she was Asian of some sort, who was bitten by a snake and died within 45 minutes. So.
Wasn't she doing something with it, like to prove?
No, it's part of her act, and they're supposed to be defanged. This one wasn't, and they
The
bit
animals
her.
are getting nuts. We had bear running around
But
here
she
too.
shouldn't be doing that. Anyway, but then listen to this, though, about this Alaska professor. His first name was Forrest. Now, to me, that
What's the
means...
last name Gump?
And 38, that's an oversoul number, a money number, and because it's an oversoul number, anything that equals an 8, it can also be a death number, or a removal from the physical body, because it's spiritual, or a soul level, we'll say. Anyway, a sow, and I didn't know they called female bears a sow. Now I know that.
They call them what?
A sow.
Does that call pigs that?
Yeah, but I didn't know. According to this article, they called it a sow with 2 cubs attacked her.
Wow.
So listen to this.
That's like an insult to bears.
I don't know. It was leading 11 students, so there's your double new beginning. His name was Forrest. He was 35 years old. However, he did not get killed.
Right.
And I've never heard any more about this story, but he has refused to give any stories to the newspaper
Yeah, because
about
he
it.
looks like a dope
He's
nick.
probably embarrassed. He teaches
Yeah.
rock and ice climbing, backcountry navigation, glacial travel, and mountaineering. So this is a
And
guy...
bear fighting.
And this is a guy who knows a lot.
And how to bait a bear.
I guess, be bear bait. But listen to this. A week before this, a 77, that's also a power number, a 77-year-old bear hunter was also suffered when a grizzly mauled him in the interior.
Okay, people, these are grizzly bears the size of a house. Why would you go up to them?
Yeah,
This
well,
is stupid people.
I'm just telling you because the bear in Russia, which we've talked about,
Russian bears are much nicer.
well, no, what bear, the symbol of Russia is the
Vodka,
bear.
the caviar, they go, come here, be a bear with me.
Did you hear about what Yoko Ono said?
I try not to listen to what Yoko Ono
Well, this
says.
is a biggie because she surprised reporters, apparently, and actually they used the word shocked in the article,
Yeah.
when she was in L.A. to present, guess the what, a collection of cups and saucers, who cares,
Really?
right, at the Museum of Modern Art. Anyway,
Yoko Ono.
she admitted that she had not only met the former First Lady in various times during
Who
a series
First
of
Lady?
protests, Hillary Clinton,
Ah.
against the Vietnam War in New York in the 70s, but also knew her intimately. She admitted laughingly to having a fling with Hillary at the time,
Yoko? Oh no!
and acknowledged that Hillary's election would be a great advancement for LGBT and women's rights in America. She said, "We met many times during the New York Vietnam War protests in the 70s and became very intimate. We shared many of the same values about sexual equality, fighting against the authoritarian, patriarchal, male-dominated society we were raised in. We had a brief," this is still her quote, "we had a brief romantic fling when I lived with John in Manhattan and Hillary was studying at Yale, but eventually we lost touch and I'm amazed at how well things are going for her in her campaign."
I guess Hillary doesn't like Japanese food.
Now, it also says that experts say that previous allegations of Hillary Clinton's lesbianism past, so apparently this is now mainstream, have not seemed to play against the frontrunner for the 2016 Democratic presidential race. So I thought that
Not
was
these
pretty.
days.
Well, of course, it's all in alignment with everything they're setting up, and
Yoko and Hillary?
she just happened to drop that. Well, not only that, but isn't Yoko like close to 80?
Nobody really knows.
Yeah, but she's older.
She's
and
like
how
as
old's
old as
Hillary?
I got the Zero.
But how old's Hillary?
60-something.
Yeah, so Yoko may be a good 10 years older. So, for her to throw this out, there's a reason why it got kind of thrown out there by a celebrity. And now, of course, it's just going to be naturally accepted because, as I said, you're going to be strange now if you're straight. And then, again, another bear story. This is Marie Osmond. Now,
I like Marie. Come on.
This was very odd. She has a new music video out called Music is Medicine. And she filmed this in a, it says Smiling Kids from St. Rose Dominican Hospital even though they're very sick children that were in all of it. And she said her message is clear that music is really the best medicine. But the thing that was strange about it is usually she's known for country. This was pop. Second thing was it was many of these dancing-sized human-sized bears. Now I've been talking a lot about how those are being somehow or another, for whatever reason, all over the place and lining that up with bestiality and whatever. And
no, but you once had on your podcast once that teddy bears were a symbol for pedophilia.
Yes, yes. And also, during this thing, they all had in their hand a triangle in the middle of a circle. So what does that mean hyperspace-wise?
It means they're trying, was it pointed up or down?
They were like this, that was pointed up.
So they're trying to perfect some kind of spiritual creation in their space.
Why would you say spiritual?
Because up.
Ah, okay. So I don't know what they're trying to do, but I just found this very odd, and they said it was odd. You know, she's doing this in a hospital with all these sick kids.
Well, it's also interesting. I've read a lot of, alien abduction stories or interactions over like the last 30, 40 years. And a lot of these people report some of the aliens have an insignia of a triangle with a circle.
That's what it reminded me of. It was some kind of an activation for people, but I didn't feel like it was a positive thing. But they kept showing this circle thing, like they turn on the music kind of thing. So I felt it was not a good thing. Not
I hope
positive.
it's not something Marie did, because I like Marie.
Well, I'm sure, if they're up that stage.
She has like 40 children or something.
Well, and apparently all these kids in the hospital. And it was sad because, they had kids with their little breathing tubes on and they've lost their hair. It's a sad thing, but,
Yes.
of course the kids had fun making it, but I still feel there was some nefarious purpose in there, or they wouldn't have been there, unfortunately. And
Where
now,
was Donnie?
yeah. Now this was interesting to me in Berlin. Now remember I just told you about the number 8, right? Okay, so in Berlin they have 944 volunteers. Now again, that's an 8 number
For
when you
what?
add it up, who were volunteering to prove that by clinical experimentation that there is life after death. They volunteered to be dead for 20 minutes, and while they clinically, yes,
They killed them?
yes.
What?
And then they revived them to get their memories in Berlin.
Germany's really gone downhill.
Yep, it says this astonishing announcement that there is existence of some form of life after death is based on the conclusions of a study using a new type of medically supervised near-death experiences that allow patients to be clinically dead for almost 20 minutes before being brought back to life. They have 944 volunteers, so God knows what they paid them to do that.
A lot.
So they were clinically dead, and then it talks about how they reanimated them.
And they had memories of being dead?
Yes, and they said that most common memories include a feeling of detachment from the body,
Well, duh.
feelings of levitation, total serenity, security, warmth, the experience of absolute dissolution, and the presence of an overwhelming light. So they were dead. Now, these were volunteers, and they had amongst them Christians, Muslims, Jews, Hindus, and atheists. So, the scientists say that
And all of them were stupid.
apparently they needed the money and they paid them enough. They said...
Really stupid.
Well, yeah.
What good is the money if you don't come back?
Well, I guess they figure they can leave it to their people. But anyway, maybe they figure, okay,
Did any of
volunteer.
them not come back?
They didn't say.
Yeah. That
They
they
did
left
not
out.
say.
'Cause I'm sure some of them
944.
didn't.
He says, the scientists say, I know our results could disturb the beliefs of many people, but in a way we just answered one of the greatest questions in the history of mankind.
Right.
So I hope these people will be able to forgive us. Yes, there is life after death, and it looks like this applies to everyone. And this was a German study, so again.
Yeah, well, the Germans know about death, don't they?
Well, they do, and that kind of disturbed me. I mean, like you said, what kind of people would do this? 944 volunteers. Why did they choose 944?
kill you, and then we will bring you back.
Right.
Maybe.
Maybe. Anyway, the court. We're going to go back to the South again. I'm kind of all over the place, but we're going to pull this together at the end. In Virginia, a court overturned Virginia school's transgender bathroom rule because apparently there was a law against a transgender teen forbidding him from using the boys' restroom, and so.
Well, wait. Was he first a girl and
Yes.
then a boy, or was he a boy that became a
He
girl?
was a female that identifies as a male. Now, it didn't say if he had the operation, but
Well, look, you can't add what's not there already, okay?
Well, they do.
No, not really.
Well, they try. So anyway, it says that this could have implications for the North Carolina law that says critics can discriminate against LGBT people.
Again, all in the South.
Yes, this is the thing that's interesting to me. Apparently this person who brought it, the suit, called the policy. Now this was the thing, is they gave him a private single stall restroom, which actually in school...
His own private?
Yeah, but he said it stigmatized him. Personally, I would prefer a private bathroom rather than a group bathroom myself.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because I don't want you in my bathroom anymore.
Yeah, okay, so it's a group bathroom, so
yeah.
maybe we'd have to draw straws.
Only for emperors.
Now this, I just want to remind you that this transgender teen who was born a female decided not to wear girls' clothes anymore. His parents helped him legally change his name. A psychologist diagnosed him with gender dysphoria, and I'm sorry, I don't think you can do that with children that young.
How old was he?
Well, 16, but at 6 was when he was diagnosed.
There's no way.
He was characterized by stress stemming from conflict between one's gender identity and assigned at birth. And he began hormone treatment to deepen his voice and give him a more masculine appearance. So I don't think at this age that children really know their own mind.
No, absolutely. You know what? I know 50-year-olds that don't know who they are.
Exactly. So again, there's just more programming that is being bombarded against people, so you don't know who you are. So they can make you to what they want you to be.
People, please keep your original parts.
Yeah. And don't add more.
You can't get them back.
No. And then listen to this. This is back to North Carolina now. In North Carolina, remember the bathroom rule? There was a woman who got kicked out of a ladies' bathroom by the police because somebody reported her as a transgender and she was not.
She just was a
tough
woman.
And there are women who have more masculine appearances and males who have more feminine. But we can't make assumptions, and this is what's happening now in our society. Unfortunately,
right. Everybody's getting paranoid.
Yes. So anyway, this North Carolina woman who had lived in Charlotte for 54 years. She was tased multiple times by police officers. She was forced out of the bathroom stall with her pants down. And they
I hope she gets
humiliated
$1 billion from the police department.
Yeah, they humiliated
and puts them out of business.
They kicked the door open, grabbed her, threw her on the floor, and she said she was traumatized. I don't blame her. I would be traumatized.
Right.
And they claimed she was a visible threat to police officers.
If someone was dragging me out of the bathroom while I was going, I would be a threat to whoever was doing
But see, this is what they're doing. They're waiting until you're most vulnerable. The bathroom, your
and
private
whoever
parts.
reported her should be executed.
Well, yeah. How did that happen? And how did they get there so fast?
They should drop that person in ISIS territory with a thing that's cut here.
You know what I think? I think somebody was waiting and watching for a woman to go in like that so that they could create this fuss and put it out there. That's what I think. Because how long does it take to use the toilet? And by the time somebody calls and the police come and they do all that,
that's true.
And a crowd gathers, right?
That's true.
I mean, how long are you going to be sitting on a toilet with your pants down?
Could I think about that?
No. But I'm just telling you, I think, that, again, it was a setup. So once they picked her up, and then they said, she'd come out peacefully. It's like, okay, give me a second. Let me pull my pants up. No. So anyway, it said, let's see. Then she was taken to jail, and she was in jail for 5 hours because guess what? Nobody took her purse. So she had no identification to prove who she was, which was purposefully done, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So she says, this is a quote from the lady, the idiot cops, and in this case, you know how I feel about those words?
I would say worse words than that.
The idiot cops left my purse on the scene, left me to rot in jail for 5 hours because I thought I was a man. I'm going to sue the hell out of them.
Good. Hope
you can be sure about that. But the issue is remember what I tell you in the blogs, the more you put energy into these things, the more they grow. People are going to get very angry. These your relatives, your neighbors, your friends are being attacked now.
That's why I don't like people.
Let's not say that.
That's
That's
the
not
truth.
nice.
I stay away from people.
That's not nice. No, we just have to remember
People are nuts.
Not to be triggered, and we don't want to feed the violence, and don't have the mind pattern that draws these things. You don't be a victim. Anyway, the governor of the state, North Carolina, it just is reminding us in this article that they have a law in place, because we talked about the same thing happened in Seattle at a YMCA. I don't know if you were here when I reported on that, when a man went in and used the changing room in Seattle, and he was reported.
He was a man.
He did not identify himself as transgender. He just went in, and so then he said he had the right to be there because he can go wherever he wanted, and he left on his own. So they also had that law there, but
theoretically, when you go to any restroom, it doesn't, if it says male, it doesn't say if you're, not
You
this,
can't
don't
go.
enter. It doesn't say that.
Well, when the boys were little, and when I would be places with them, if your kid has to go, they have to go. And so there were a couple times when I actually just took them into the men's bathroom. I said, "Are there any men in there?" Or the women's line was like from here to out the door, and it's like, I'm not going to stand there when there's nobody in the men's room. You stand here and watch outside. And I would ask somebody to watch, and I took my kids in and let them use the man's bathroom. But I had somebody stand outside and make sure there wasn't anybody inside.
Now you'd be arrested.
I don't know. Anyway, and then Target, it says it just took a big step for its transgender customers because it says it's getting widespread praise after announcing it would welcome transgender customers to use any bathroom or fitting room that matches their gender identity.
Did you ever see the people that go into Target? We don't know what they are.
It says, we welcome
They don't even
transgender
look human.
team members and guests to use the restroom or fitting room facility that corresponds with their gender identity.
They should have like a competition with Walmart customers.
Everyone deserves to feel they belong, and you'll always be accepted, respected, and welcomed at Target. And then they included a redesigned version of its signature bullseye logo to include a rainbow.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah. So
Why don't they make it like a vagina with a penis in the middle?
that might work.
And
We could have a vagina without a penis without a vagina. I mean,
there's like a whole business for this.
Yeah, who knows what it's going to look like by the time they're done.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Minnesota, where Target is headquartered, a Republican state senator proposed a bill that would limit access to restrooms and dressing rooms based on individuals' biological sex. So, and then Kroger. Kroger is a chain.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. They now have unisex bathrooms, which again, a lot of places I've seen this, which they have, like for male and female, and then, for example, like if I had the boys, like a family restroom. So I could take them in as a mother.
That makes more sense.
Yes. So Kroger now has a sign, and I don't know if they have 3 or just the unisex, I'm not sure. But it says mothers with sons are welcome, fathers with daughters, disabled people with caregivers, and LGBTQ.
And if you like vanilla on Wednesday, you can come in on Thursday. And like, how stupid is that?
Yeah. And do you remember last week I talked about the incest laws that are going to, I said are going to be changing, and the mother and the daughter that found themselves? Do you remember? They were having a sexual relationship.
Horrible.
Okay, so now listen to this one.
I don't like your stories.
Well, listen to this one. Now there's a gay couple, men, who discovered that they're long-lost twins.
How'd that happen?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Are these stories real or are they planted? I can't tell you. I hope not.
Well, I'm prettier than you, so.
Well, so probably not then.
Probably not.
Anyway, apparently there were 2 men, gay lovers in New Jersey, and because they
it's New Jersey.
So they looked so much alike that friends and family members urged them to take a DNA test to see if they had any family ties. So apparently they took the tests, and they found out that it was relatively good news that they were twin brothers separated at birth through adoption. Now, interestingly enough, the one who spoke on to the reporters said that was his 25th birthday. He didn't know that he'd been adopted, so he found out he was adopted. He didn't know that he had a twin brother and was separated at birth. His parents knew all that, and according to this,
these
and kept this
are
from him.
moron adoptive parents.
Well, but anyway, so the twin who was his lover was so upset by it all he won't even talk to anybody.
Well, I don't blame him.
And this guy said that he thought he'd found his soulmate and was going to spend the rest of his life. Well, kind of did. So he says, I don't know whether to cry or jump with joy, and what a way to spend your 25th birthday. And then, of course, listen to this kicker. It says, sexual relations between siblings is prohibited in the U.S., but the 2 brothers should not be prosecuted because of the particularities of this specific case.
The parents should be prosecuted, the adoption agencies should be prosecuted, and the hospitals and everyone else involved should be prosecuted.
So anyway, I just thought, well, here we are, more incest stuff.
Unbelievable. Only in the United States would that happen.
Okay, and then listen to this. Did you hear about the rainbow-colored nooses at the university in Tennessee?
What, they're going to hang gay people?
No, honey. This is the issue, is they found 6 rainbow-colored nooses hanging in a tree.
Yeah.
Without anybody. And they don't know why or who did it.
I think I could guess why.
Well, they're saying, some of them are saying it's to highlight the struggles of the
noose.
LGBT community,
No,
like the flag.
Kill you. We want to hang you.
That would be how I would do it. But again, we're in the South again, Tennessee.
Oh, for goodness sake. They should just separate the South from the rest of the earth.
Well, then here we go. So anyway, it says the school received complaints, so they took them down. But I mean, again. And then it says in March, now I didn't hear about this one, I don't know if you did or not, a former, again, University of Mississippi
I
student
rest my case.
pleaded guilty to a federal civil rights charge where he admitted his role in draping a noose around the neck of a statue of the school's first black student. So he was given, another student who had a similar incident, he was sentenced to 6 months prison for doing that.
Well, he deserved that.
So I'm just telling you, weird things are happening now. We remember the Civil War was over, like we've talked about, black
Civil
and
War
white.
isn't over.
Exactly. Listen to
It
this
still
one.
goes on.
Now, did you know that Harriet Tubman is going to replace Andrew Jackson on
Yeah,
the
I heard
$20
about
bill?
that. And Ben Carson said she shouldn't
Why?
because he said she wasn't important enough.
Well, they're claiming that she was. She was a famous 19th century abolitionist who escaped slavery and became the conductor of the Underground Railroad, which was, if those of you who don't know, a system of secret safe houses.
We had that here.
Yes, we had in a cave not too far from us, Bear Cave, in
Bear
fact.
Cave, right?
And we visited there. A system of secret safe houses that successfully helped free hundreds of slaves. And then she went on to become a spy for the Union during the Civil War. But again, I think that's going to upset a lot of people because we have the Confederate flag issues, we have the black slavery issues, we have the LGBT. It just doesn't stop.
Everybody just stop,
So,
okay?
well, like I
Just stop
said,
it.
they're trying to split everybody
I
up.
don't know why the aliens want to take over. This is why.
And then in Utah, they just declared that porn is causing a public health crisis. Because there are...
What, the Mormons who have 15 wives, pornography is a problem for them?
the real health
Really?
risks associated with viewing pornography. And they said that there was a bill signed, but it was ceremonial. It was a non-binding resolution. But the governor says that people generally know about the dangers of drugs and alcohol that tempt our youth, but we want our young people to know there is a psychological and physiological detriment that comes from addiction to pornography.
There's also an addiction, a psychological detriment that comes from addiction to religion.
And, however, they say that pornography perpetuates a sexually toxic environment. It is a hypersexualization of teens, lessening desire in young men to marry, dissatisfaction in marriage, and infidelity.
Oh, please, it has nothing to do with it.
Well, this is what my issue is with this issue. Because, and I've been talking about this on the blog when we talk about the fighting. It's like, okay, there's a war on drugs, a war on alcohol, and the more that we put out the war on this and the war on that, the more fighting we have.
That's
and
the point.
And the bigger it grows.
Yes.
So while they're
Divide
claiming...
and conquer.
While they're claiming there's a war on pornography now, apparently in Utah,
Utah.
it's going to make it be more in the news, which it already is because it's kind of like commonplace, and therefore it's going to just grow bigger, and again, another precursor to the New World religion.
They need to soak in that salt lake and get their poisons out.
Okay, and then, also another word that's been coming up quite often is rape. And a lot of controversy over that. Well, now there was this is, again, is all over the internet. Something you would not expect it to be associated with is dolphins.
They're raping dolphins.
No, they're claiming dolphins are rapists.
What?
Yes.
Who said this?
Well, apparently, I guess it's a skit on television, someone named Kimmy Schmidt, who's played by Ellie Kemper, and Tina Fey's.
Oh, Tina Fey.
Yes. So they're talking...
So it's a joke.
Yes and no, because you know how they put things out to open up the frequencies? Remember I talked about the Overton window last week or the week before, I'm not sure which. Okay, so Dr. Andrea tells the ever-optimistic Kimmy that her sleep cycle is erratic. So Kimmy says, you know who else doesn't sleep a lot? Dolphins, and they're always smiling. So then Dr. Andrea says, dolphins are rapists. Look it up. So now this is all over the internet of what was said. So there's a reason.
Wait, this was like a comedy skit. Though.
Yes, but anyway, so then they have to explain it.
I think Tina Fey should stick with doing Sarah Palin.
But there's a reason why they're putting this out there, although we don't know yet. But it goes on about dolphins can be aggressive in courtship and mating. And this is by Justin Gregg, who is a dolphin researcher. They can herd their mates and go on and on about that, but he says they're not rapists. He says...
No, they're not.
Primates, birds and insects, not dolphins, that engage in what scientists call forced copulation, but that's their instinct. It's not rape. Anyway, it talks about this, and it says, this researcher says, the dolphins are rapist meme easily lends itself to being a trendy t-shirt or link bait headline, but rape is undoubtedly the wrong term to apply to dolphin behavior.
I think so.
It is a loaded term that really should be used solely to describe the fundamentally horrific and uniquely human crime of rape as defined by the law. There is no dolphin equivalent. So I just think that, again...
So at least he had a brain.
Well, this researcher who I'm sure he was abhorred by them saying this, but they're saying more and more things because I'm telling people, they're associating, rape with dolphins, something smart and good.
Because they didn't want people associating with dolphin frequency. And that's why they said dolphins were killing people and they were dangerous.
And you just read the dolphin story just before we came on here about Russia acquiring the dolphins. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, and then on a more pleasant note...
I hope so.
Kind of, I guess.
Please don't tell me it's about poop.
No, it's about penguins, actually.
Oh, same thing.
And penguins have to do with programming, although they exist, so we wanted...
They're so cute.
They are cute. But anyway, apparently, this was interesting. I thought you would want to know something good about Detroit.
There's something good about Detroit?
Yeah, the largest indoor penguin habitat in the whole world has opened at the Detroit Zoo. It's a 33,000 square foot, 30 million conservation. And again, it has 80 aquatic birds. So 80, there's that 8 is everywhere. And 33 and all these 3s that are being thrown out there, even that's a 9. Anyway, it's located on 2 acres. It has a 326,000 gallon tank. That's an 11. That's our double new beginnings. Gives the penguins 10 times the amount of swimming area. There's our number 10. So they have king penguins, gentoo penguins, macaroni, and rockhopper penguins.
Oh, macaroni penguins. They must taste good.
Yeah. So, now, this was the interesting thing about, however, the story.
We saw those penguins in Antarctica.
Yeah, we saw all of those. The kicker is that they have an opportunity for you to be with the penguins. Okay, listen to this. The visit lasts 2 hours. It gives you a behind-the-scenes tour of the penguin center. And it's called mingles. You can't mingle during breeding season.
Because they don't want to make a hybrid of human and penguin.
I don't know. The groups are limited to 6 participants. You have to be 7 or older, accompanied by an adult.
Well, then I can't go.
You have to reserve at least 2 weeks in advance. $1,000 per group.
Well, they can keep that.
I mean, that's a lot of money for 6 people.
We saw the penguins. We just walked with them in Antarctica.
And penguins are smelly.
And they were smelly and dirty.
Realize that.
Really, but they're very cute.
They're very cute, but they're very stinky. You can
they
smell
steal
them.
things from each other. They're so cute.
Yeah,
they're like little hoodlum penguins.
As you get close to the shoreline, you can smell them.
Oh, wait. Or was that a bunch of nuns that we saw? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
No.
And this this story is for you. This is about Pakistan, because I know you were there not too long ago.
Yes. Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah.
Well, my life was in danger.
Apparently in Pakistan, they smoke dead scorpions.
My peeps? They smoke my peeps?
They dry them in the sunlight and burn them on coal.
I declare a jihad against Pakistan.
The scorpion is allowed to cook until it burns to death.
Or a fatwa or something.
Which then allows the venom to escape in the smoke, and
horrible.
People sniff the smoke.
That's why Pakistan is the way it is.
And according to the local doctors, medical experts say
there are no medical experts in Pakistan.
Well, there's doctors there. That the scorpion venom is dangerous for the human brain when inhaled.
Oh, duh.
And
how long did it take them to figure that out?
Is more harmful than other drugs. Scorpion smoking causes short and long-term memory loss. The person addicted to scorpion smoking also develops sleeping and appetite disorders and starts living in a constant state of delusion.
Everyone is like that.
It causes hallucination where the person or people have perceptions of something which is not present.
I command my scorpion army to rise up and eliminate this terrible thing.
But believe it or not, there's a lack of laws for scorpion smoking in Pakistan.
You know what? I'm going to go back to Pakistan and start scorpion rights.
Okay, but no, it gets crazier.
I want separate bathrooms for scorpions.
Well, you got to examine them first to see what gender they identify with.
I can tell by looking.
Oh, you can't?
Yeah.
We're smelling the smoke, apparently.
It depends how big their stinger is.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a lack of laws for scorpion smoking in Pakistan, and the doctors say we need the
You're making fun of my people.
We need laws in place to stop the killing of scorpions.
This is scorpion side.
Now, apparently, now listen to this. This reminded me of medical marijuana. This is why I'm bringing this one up. The doctor says that scorpions are used in medicines for diseases like cancer and AIDS.
They are?
That's what he says.
My poor people.
So he says, unless their use is regulated, scorpion addiction poses a threat to the availability of scorpions for medical purposes. They're going to kill them all
I am
off.
really upset now.
So anyway, like I said...
I'm going to ask the Pope to bring scorpion refugees to the Vatican.
Yeah. Well, a long time ago, they used to be like 6 feet or something. Remember, we talked about the scorpion skeletons that they found.
We should start
fossils, scorpion
We should
fossils.
start a GoFundMe page for the scorpion safety.
Yeah, because remember, by birth, you are a scorpion. You're a Scorpio.
I'm the scorpion.
November 5.
Emperor.
And even though it's a long way until his 60th birthday,
Ooh.
you want to remember
Gotta bring
November
that up.
5. That's a magic number.
They didn't give me presents
Scorpio.
last year, so why will they do it this year?
I don't know. Maybe because you're going to be 60.
Well, they better start sending now.
Maybe. Anyway, so I want to remind people that we're getting very close to closing out our Coti and Alp trip to northern Italy, Waldensian territory, power peaks. I mean, you want to find your personal power and you want to get clear health, clear healing. What better place to go? So please, you must register ASAP because we're going to have to start closing here within the next week or so at tops. We can maybe stretch it, but it's getting kind of slim to none that you're going to get in on it if you don't sign up now. So, Clear Health and Healing Spiritual Tour in June to Northern Italy, Waldensian
Yeah,
country.
but you skipped a whole bunch of stuff.
April's webinar?
Like you have one in April.
No. We're in process right now. They can't join now.
They can't so.
But they can join in May.
Okay, there
So,
you go.
the first week of May is around the corner. It will be my last self-help healing group.
Just for the spring.
Yeah. And then we will take a break for the summer months, and then we'll start up again in September. So if you want to join, or we also have the pay-per-views that you can get on the site to get yourself up. A lot of people are doing that, I notice. And then in May, you're going to be in Iceland and Holland. In June, you're going to be in Poland and Germany, right? And then in June, I'm going to have my group in northern Italy. In August, you're going to Chile? You never told me that.
Yeah, because it's too hotty here, so I need to
Yeah,
be
you're going to have to
chilly.
tell me that in private because I don't know anything about that one. I know UK and Germany in August. September is our September Spectacular right here in St. Joseph, Michigan.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing some really great things. Watch the website for that information. And
then, who wants to come to my birthday party?
are you having a party?
I just thought I'd throw it out there.
Yeah? Where's it going to be?
That's for them to tell me.
Yeah. Where do you want to see Stewart's 60th birthday party?
Who's going to make my party?
Yeah. Where? Maybe the Scorpions will.
Because someone isn't even planning it.
No?
No.
Can I say?
Yeah.
So maybe the Scorpions will give you a party.
You know what? Maybe they will.
Maybe we have to find. Maybe we go to Pakistan, but you can't smoke them
I'm not
because
going back to
it's
Pakistan.
deadly there. According to this, it's very deadly.
No. That explains a whole lot about Pakistan.
All right. So that's what I know.
Which isn't much.
What can I say?
Maybe you've been smoking scorpions.
I know scorpions around here. Thank goodness. They have them in Texas,
Well, they could stay in Texas
Mexico.
and Mexico.
You've been to Mexico. And
Yeah, I have. I've been everywhere.
maybe the scorpions followed you to Mexico.
The scorpions in Mexico have little signs up. Hola, Stewart, welcome.
Estua.
Stewart, welcome. Yeah. They're so cute, the little Mexican scorpions.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're done, huh?
I'm done.
Yeah, you're done, all right. Well, I hope you enjoyed our news podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.